Hello everybody, Dren608 again with another turn for the Civil War by Victory Games, designed by Eric Lee Smith. We're going to be going into turn 11. You'll notice I have up Florida down here that several control flags for the Union have disappeared and Sedgwick is back in Jacksonville. As I put a note in here, Major Fubar on my part. I used Eastern commands to move Sedgwick in Florida, and he's in the West. So I undid his moves. However, I also forgot to put his promotion counter into the mix, so I put that where he is. To defend the Eastern commands correctly, I built a fort in New Bern, down here, which was with turn 9's points, and then I moved the 2 strength points from Grafton to Little Mac in Western Virginia, and then just basically burned the last Union point that I had spent in the East erroneously to move Sedgwick around. I think last turn that's why I took primary in the East, thinking I was going to move Sedgwick with those commands, but that's not in the Eastern Theater, that's in the Western Theater. So, with that corrected, we move on. I adjusted the open ports. I had to give him back a point because I didn't take Brunswick. And took out some other things. Why is the reveal not? Oh. Forgot to bring up the thing that shows the reveal. So the West went, Union went back to primary in the West, and that's where most of the action is taking place at this point in the game. And we just reset things. We got we did the die rolls for commands, so I'm going to just kind of scroll through those as the Eastern Union and the CSA get their stuff. And then I reset the things for next turn. Go to the Commerce Raider phase. I kept my naval points because I need to move people around. So the Alabama got 8 and the Florida got 9. So 17 more points. Now they're up to 2 victory points from their ships sunk. And I had already done the blockade and production phase. So we went right into the action phase with, of course, not a very big split. I took an extra strength point here in Mill Springs because I want to be able to move McDowell with all 6 of his. So I wanted to leave somebody to garrison against Stewart to at least make him fight and not be able to run everywhere, depending on how that works out. I did ask a question about moving leaders or strength points by sea movement, if you can use their theater. I'm pretty sure that the leaders can because they can combine sea movement, rail movement, and everything else. But I'm also pretty sure that the strength points have to start over in a port on the eastern coast, like Philadelphia or Washington or Baltimore, so on and so forth. And then they can only be moved by discretionary or naval points. At least that's the way I'm playing it from now on. So that's a question to go up on Board Game Geek, and we'll see what the answer is. And CSA took a strength point somewhere in the west, maybe. And again, it was another 1 point split here. There's no leaders and no reinforcements, so I moved a point from Washington to New Bern using a discretionary point. And I think we finally got a decent die differential. And I did something in... Not sure what I'm doing over here. I'm spending points. I put the an ironclad in Decatur because I wanted to fight the Union if they came down the river. And to also keep my cavalry raid lines open as much as possible. And then I think here's where I started. Morgan pops a couple of railroad lines. And then this is my fancy schmancy rearranging the leaders. Took 2 in the west and 1 in the east to pull this off. Sherman moves down to where Grant is. And then, him being a 4-star general, he takes over that army. As Grant moves away and goes way over here to the east and goes into the Army of the Potomac, which he will then take over. And then Lyon comes railing back and rides on a fast horse and gets to the Army of the Cumberland. And now I have my 2-point leaders in charge of my 3 biggest armies, which hopefully will help. And then I took a bunch of strength points, took 2 strength points, Porter, a leader, and a whole bunch of people down to Decatur, because I was trying to cut some of the rail lines to supply for A.S. Johnston. There's an icy battle, ironclad battle. Again, attacker is usually first. So a 6 and a 5. The Union got a sunk on the CSA, and CSA got a now effect. They needed a 6. CSA really wanted to go first. They could have put a strength point in there, and then they could have put built a fort, and it would have been a much bigger battle, but didn't quite really work. It's a 3-to-1 column K, +1 for the Union, so they got a D1. 6 is still a no effect by the CSA on me. I had to reveal my leader. Leader loss rolls, a 9 and a 9, so both are okay. Blunt can't be promoted, but he's there to be able to move up and down the rail line to try and cut, like I said, the supply to A.S. Johnston if at all possible. And I picked up a victory point. Whoopty dingleberries. And then I got my militia point, which I put in Selma. I really didn't know where to put him. Could have probably put him further south in Savannah, or Mobile rather. But be that as it may. And then that was me spending my 2 naval command points that I forgot to do. We rolled again. We got a tied at 11. So, a whole bunch more command points get thrown up here on the track. Table use is up to 2. And there was a big split here, 12 to 4, should be at 8. And the Army of the Tennessee, which is the Johnston, went down a couple points. And I took A.P. Hill, and I said, you need to get out of Decatur. So I marched on down to Decatur. And Blunt tried to react away to hide. Failed. So A.P. Hill attacks him. And because of the way that A.P. Hill attacked him, he attacked him in such a way that the only retreat he has is across the navigable river. And that's not allowed even if you control it. So CSA got a D. And the Union, of course, rolled a 1, which was no effect. So Blount can't retreat across the Navigable River, so the strength points are eliminated. Decatur recaptures Decatur. And then I think all I did here is this is me playing around with just putting the Navy on the other side of the river so that I can not have Confederates and Union and stuff stacked together. Porter is fine. Blunt and Porter both survived that. And then I took strength points. I'm not sure exactly what I did here. I think I railed a couple strength points in from somewhere to get the Army of Nashville back up to full strength. And then Morgan went on another rampage. He converted 2 rail lines. He can't convert Grenada because he's a cavalry force. And then we attacked Memphis, I think. And when they attacked at Memphis, it didn't quite work out the way he wanted. He got a no effect because we're all both small forces, and Union got a D. So Morgan's kind of in trouble there. And then Stuart ran around McDowell to cut off some of his rail lines. And then now it's the Union's turn. So first, move to discretionary. And built a depot in Mill Springs so that McDowell would be in supply. And then I spent points in the west to move McDowell to go and get that rail line back open, come across the woods, and then go after Stuart. And now I'm not sure if cavalry leaders are allowed to react like other army leaders. I'm still a little unclear on who gets to do that reaction die roll. But I tried to do a withdrawal anyway so that I could stop him. Oh, I'm hitting undos. Sorry. So Stuart withdrew. McDowell, I don't think had any movement points left, but I wasn't sure about the rules, so I just did that. The Army of the Cumberland is in supply through Bowling Green at the moment, and I think I took... Oh, it ended up being Schofield's promotion counter. And then he moved around and went to pick up some more rail lines, and then attacked. Then I changed my mind and let the cavalry force withdraw, even on DM being +1. So, like I said, I'm not really sure about that optional rule about forces being able to withdraw like that. So, 1, 2, 3. And we did a couple leader losses and go into the next pulse. Setting the die differential. I think I moved Stuart then back to get him closer back towards Knoxville because I didn't want to have... Wanted to have some way... I really want to get him in the mountains on the road to Knoxville so that he can react. That way he can do a withdrawal and stop him, river transport. Oh, I took the transports in all but 1 ironclad back to Cairo so that my river navy is all together. I think that's me twisting them around. And we're into pulse 6. And USA gets a +2. Okay, I got something up in the way here. Grant's now trying to move on to Lee over here. Lee gets a chance to react, and does. And he moves into the wilderness to see what Grant's going to do. Grant's going to say, you know, heck with it, I'm going there. Lee goes back to Fredericksburg. Not sure why. Oh, because what's going on? Why is my button not working? There we go. So we ended up on a net +5. Column shifted to the left, so Union is... Why is Union +5? Oh, because I added Pleasanton. There we go. Net 8 for the Union, net 8 for the South. Grant rerolls his own, got himself up to a D3. Reroll, Lee said reroll to Grant. It got worse, so I made him do it again. Grant passes, Lee rolls his own. This is not the Lee that we know. He's rolled that 1 twice, so Grant was very happy with his D2 to D, or D3 to D1, or D2 rather, and so took some point losses for Lee. Not sure I took enough points off there. And then I think and here we go. Grant almost got himself shot. Pleasanton didn't get a promotion. Hope's okay. Stoneman's okay. Hancock's okay. Steele's okay. CSA, Lee was alright. His cavalry was okay. Hood comes up for a promotion. Jackson gets his final promotion. Longstreet was almost wounded. And then in Lee's half the pulse, he reorganizes himself. And of course, the Union won that, so they reorganized themselves. And we go on down over to the Trans-Mississippi. What did I do in the Union Trans-Mississippi? I think I just burned a point because I didn't know what to do with my point. That's what it looks like. And I believe the South kind of did the same thing. Oh, no, they spent 3 to build their... They remembered to destroy their depot this time and built a fort. That's what it was. Then we tied at 5. So again, the commands go back up. Oops, I went a little fast there. There's like a 4-point difference, and it's on the CSA side. And I'm trying to remember what I did here. Not quite sure what I was doing there. It looks like I was messing around with the trash barrel here because I was trying to figure out where promotion counters might be. I was thinking I'd missed something. Looks like I'm taking strength points, and then I moved AP Hill back into the army. And then Sheridan. I think I was adding some. I'm not sure what I'm doing here. I know there's the promos for them, but Jesus, I get tired of this sometimes. All right, Solitaire CSA Fort. Where did I do that? Oh no, I built a depot in the Port Hudson. And took some points in the Army of Northern Virginia. Spent 3 in the west to move Schofield. Oh, he moved down to try and reestablish my rail line, I think. Yes. Then I brought a bunch of ironclads with Porter down to be adjacent to Grant Sherman's hex there. The idea was I brought in some reinforcement for the army. And then if you look at this big, huge stack, I'm at full strength and I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ironclads to try and help me attack at Vicksburg. So I'm kind of preparing for the next oh, and then I started moving this strength point that was sitting in Missouri. I tried to start moving him back to a rail line so I could send him to someplace useful. We had a big split again, and you'll see that the east is I built up some depots for me to fall back upon in the Trans-Mississippi. And then I came in with the attack at Vicksburg. I wasn't sure if that Arkansas would battle me because of me attacking the hex, and he's on a hex side of it. I ruled that it wouldn't have just sat there and watched the attack happen. It would have tried to get involved. So Union fired. Net 2 was a miss. The CSA rolled a 2 and missed. The Fortress missed also. So Union came again. So a net 4 was, I got the Virginia. And then they whacked me back. And the Fortress missed again. And Jay Johnson's not going to withdraw from Vicksburg. He's going to fight this battle. So there were 12 plus 5 ironclads, 5 for the naval. So a net of 17 to, what was in Vicksburg? 11, 12 total. So 17 to 12 was plus 5, and then you had to shift left 2 for the Fortress. Real quick, there's nothing else in Vicksburg but the Fortress. And because I had taken Jackson, Joe is out of supply. So he has to use his depot when he fights this battle. And then there was a 4, and it was, why was it +4? 2, 3, and 1 for Porter, right, +4. Okay, I'm just trying to make sure I'm not screwing things up too badly. And that 8 was a D2. They rolled a 4 to a net 7, which was a D2 to the Union. From the Union standpoint, the best they can get is a D2 because of the pluses that the Johnston has +2. And if you look at the combat table, the lowest thing he'll get is a D2. So or no, that's the best thing I can get is a D2. So I'm going to have the CSA reroll, and they can still get a D2. Joe Johnston's happy. Sherman tries to reroll his own. I'm not sure why I did that. Well, I guess I was trying to get a 6, but I didn't. Got a D3. JJ had the Union reroll, and they only went down to a D1. So now we do the things to the armies. The Navy moves back. And Porter got himself shot and dies, which really messes up the whole mobility of the Union. I have 2 of my naval leaders are now dead, and I don't have half of what I need to have done. So it's going to play into this. And then we roll out my leaders. Mine are all okay. And then we went after Joe's leaders. And the reason why I built those depots over in Louisiana is because I can trace depot supply across Mississippi because the port controls its own hex side, and I get to go and grab, depots that are far away from me. So I have several depots I can use up for combat here. And so we have 3. Sherman collected himself. And what did the U.S. do here? Did something with a strength point on the east. I railed a strength point somewhere. Actually, I railed. I think I've been railing some stuff around, so. Something went from 3 to 4, maybe. '53. What am I doing over here? Maybe I'm railing into the east. That's maybe what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm railing into Grant to get him up to strength, maybe? And built a depot in Lexington, West Virginia, because I'm thinking of marching down to far western, grab those 2 salt mine and lead mine. Say built a strength point, moved it to Decatur. And then we had a very low differential. We're getting low on commands here, so this is getting close to ending. And I think I had Grant. Again, I have something up so you can't see what Grant's doing. So Grant was trying to move to there. The idea was to, get around the river and the forest. You'd only have to take 1 shift against Lee. And then he went ahead and moved into the wilderness. And then we have because Lee had a +1 cavalry leader, he could react into the space. He's going to make Grant fight him again. Union had a net +5, so they had a 10, which gave him a D3. So did basically this CSA. Grant is okay. He knows he's not going to do better than what he's doing. And I didn't want to take a chance on wasting some of my rerolls, looks like. Oh no, I said wanted the Union to reroll. They got a D2. Union asked the Lee to reroll. He ended up with a net D3. Union tries to roll his own. Still a D2, so Lee just kind of said, I'm not going to give you a chance to get a D3, so we're done. And he took 2 losses. Union took 3. And then we start rolling for the Union rolls. Pleasanton finally got his promotion, which is actually a bad thing because he's worse. Doesn't give you the +1 then. And then everybody else passed. CSA. Wheeler got himself shot, so he lost his cavalry. Hood got wounded. The other 2 okay. So Lee's army's pluses just kind of went down. He's down to a 5 now. So 6. And then on Lee's half the turn, he gets rid of his demoralization. And in the Union won again, which is annoying to the south. And I think we were up to a die differential of 4, if I remember right. Yeah, die differential of 4 is basically going to be both sides are going to be done with their commands. So, not sure what I did here with the... Oh, Hooker went down and attacked Polk. Polk failed to try to get away. It was a 2-1. I ended up with a net D1, and CSA was a net D5, so 5. So both guys are DM'd, but Hooker takes Little Rock, and Polk is kicked out and loses a strength point. There they are. I was going to say, where's my DM markers? Okay, and then yeah, I did roll my die rolls. And all the command points were used by both sides at that point, so the turn ended. Not a huge movement. There was an attack on Vicksburg, attack at Lee. Did manage to take Little Rock, Arkansas. Not making any headway in Tennessee. I just don't have enough commands to do what I need to do, it seems like. And table use went up by 1. We reset a bunch of stuff. We start the... Polk only had 1 strength point, so when the DM thing came up, he was, even if he was in supply to the depot in Madison, but unfortunately he loses a strength point, and is just SOL. And then I missed this here. Hooker was actually not staying demoralized because he could trace a supply line down the Arkansas to the Mississippi and back up to his things. I don't know when I corrected that. It must be in the next video when I was looking at that. So that there is turn. Oh, what's in that? That there's the turn. Like I said, not a lot is happening here. It's just sort of the obligatory, attacks in the east to slowly start to whittle down the eastern theater. The biggest action was me taking Little Rock, and reestablishing my rail line back to the north. I have a long way to go. I have 4 strength points guarding New Orleans. I have to take the time to take Port Hudson because there's a strength point there, and then I still have to kick him out of Vicksburg, which he's got 1, 2, 3 attacks worth of supply that he can deal with. So I'm kind of way behind the roll, way behind the curve for the Union, and that's what this whole idea of the South is supposed to do, is to wear him down, slow him down at Nashville with a fort. Sooner or later, he's going to kick me out of there, and then I'm going to fall back on Chattanooga. And hopefully, by falling back there with the fortress in Chattanooga, and by the time he takes Vicksburg and actually marches down to take out New Orleans, it should be late in the game. And if it is, then I'm playing for time with the South. I'm not making aggressive, assaults. I had the one big raid where I cut off Washington to get some points, and after that, it's like I'm on the pure defensive. I'm not, unlike in history, I'm not going to go rampaging off in the north to try and do things. Cavalry raids, yeah, real real armies or corps or something, not likely. So that's my take on it. This was Turn 11, I believe it is. I'm Dren608. If you like my videos, please subscribe. I will answer comments that get posted up as fast as I can. And yeah, until next time, stay safe and bye-bye.